remarks at a public memorial there. The anniversary comes on the heels of a new bill that imposes more stringent requirements on condo associations and buildings to try to ensure that this never happens again. Victor Oquendo joins me live now from Miami, Florida for more on this. Victor, you were one of the first reporters on the scene there last year. What's it like to be there 1 year later?
Diane, it's tough to believe that it's already been 1 year. Looking back to when this first happened, there was so much confusion that first night. We're right in front of where the Champlain Tower South once stood, and when we arrived here in the middle of the night, the front of the building, that was still standing here on Collins Ave. The backside was just completely gone. When you walked around to the beach, you could see the massive pile of rubble, floor after floor after floor, stacked on top of each other. And then you could actually see inside those open condos. 1 year later, it has been just very difficult for anyone who once lived at the Champlain Tower South, had loved ones or friends, knew people who lived at that tower, or just for the Surfside community in general. There have been settlements announced recently for those who lost their property but were able to walk away with their lives, and for those who lost loved ones. And Diane, I know you just mentioned it, but pretty soon here, there's going to be an event underway to honor those lives lost, the 98 people who died here that night, and the First Lady is here for this as well.
Victor, how does this new legislation in Florida help to prevent this from happening again?
Yeah, Diane, this was just signed into law recently by Governor Ron DeSantis. I'm just going to read through some of this here. There's a recertification will now be required after 30 years or 25 years if the building is within 3 miles of the coast, and then every 10 years after that. So the Champlain Tower South, it was a 40-year-old building and was going through the 40-year recertification process that was required by Miami-Dade County at the time when it collapsed last June. But here's the thing, Diane, there is still a lot more work to do, and quite frankly, not enough structural engineers to make sure that all of this work gets done quickly.
And Victor, the federal investigation into this collapse is still ongoing. So where does it currently stand? What's the latest on that?
Diane, 1 year later, we still don't have an answer as to what made this building collapse. And we heard from federal investigators just a few weeks ago updating us on what they have, essentially saying that it might be another year or two before they're able to deliver a final report here. And the bottom line is they likely won't be able to pinpoint just one specific cause here. There are a lot of theories from every engineer that we have spoken with over the course of the last year, but still, Diane, no definitive cause.
All right, Victor Oquendo, thank you. And 3 former top Justice Department officials say former President Trump relentlessly pressured them to help overturn the 2020 election. The former officials testified yesterday at the latest January 6th hearing on Capitol Hill, delivering new testimony about the days leading up to the attack on the Capitol. Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl has more from Capitol Hill.
Donald Trump wanted to use the full power of federal law enforcement to overturn Joe Biden's election victory. And it was the top officials at the Justice Department, all of them appointed by Trump himself, who stood in his way.
I said, well, Mr. President, you're right that I'm not going to allow the Justice Department to do anything to try to overturn the election. That's true. But the reason for that is because that's what's consistent with the facts and the law.
Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen and his deputy, Richard Donahue, told Trump the department, quote, can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election.
How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
Trump peppered the DOJ leadership with demands nearly every day. He wanted them to seize voting machines, to go to the Supreme Court to overturn the election, and to chase down wacky conspiracy theories.
Select Committee confirmed that a call was actually placed by Secretary Miller to the attaché in Italy to investigate the claim that Italian satellites were switching votes from Trump to Biden. This is one of the best examples of the lengths to which the President Trump would go to stay in power.
DOJ investigated the claims anyway, finding none of them were true.
As the president went through them, I went piece by piece to say, no, that's false.
Days before the January 6th insurrection, Trump concocted a plan to install a new acting attorney general who would do what he was demanding, a guy named Jeffrey Clark, the lawyer in charge of the department's environmental division. Clark had drafted a letter he wanted the Justice Department to send to the state of Georgia and to other states Biden had won, urging state officials to reconsider their election results, saying DOJ had, quote, identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election.
It was so extreme to me, I had a hard time getting my head around it initially. This was not based on fact.
The letter's claims were not only false, these Trump Justice Department officials deemed them dangerous.
For the department to insert itself into the political process this way, I think would have had grave consequences for the country.
The effort came to a head in a January 3rd meeting in the Oval Office. The White House call log that day referred to Clark as the acting attorney general, a sign that Trump had already made up his mind. But Rosen, Donahue, and other top officials convinced Trump not to go through with his plan by threatening to resign en masse.
Your entire department leadership will walk out within hours. And I don't know what happens after that.
Federal agents raided the home of Jeffrey Clark Wednesday. He is the person that Donald Trump wanted to put in charge of the Justice Department to do his bidding. This is a sign that the current Justice Department's investigation into the events surrounding January 6th is expanding, focusing beyond those who physically attacked the building and getting closer to Trump's inner circle. Diane?
All right, Jonathan Karl, thank you. And we have breaking news now. The Supreme Court has just issued a ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. That decision will eliminate the constitutional right to abortion in the U.S. ABC News has a special report.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good morning. We're coming on the air with breaking news from the Supreme Court at this hour. The justices handing down the highly anticipated ruling on abortion and the fate of the landmark Roe versus Wade decision. This is a majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, very close to what was leaked several weeks back. The justice is saying we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. I want to bring in Terry Moran, who has covered the Supreme Court for many years. Terry, bottom line, what has the court said this morning?
Bottom line, Roe versus Wade is overruled. There is no constitutional right to an abortion in this country anymore as of today. Justice Samuel Alito in, as you say, an opinion that tracks very, very carefully, as far as I can see at this point, with the opinion that was leaked, the draft opinion, says without question it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. Again and again, he knocks down in this opinion, as he did in his draft opinion, the claim that there is a right to choose an abortion in the right to privacy